1. Caleb, you finally came. The only reason I went through with this wedding was to force you to come and stop it. The moment Ava Summers said those words, my heart turned to ice. I stared at her face, searching for a flicker of hesitation and finding none. Today was supposed to be our wedding. Just seconds ago, as we were about to exchange rings, her childhood sweetheart, Caleb Vance, had burst through the doors. He looked pale, his voice strained. Ava, I'm sick. The reason I left, it was because I didn't want to be a burden on you. He took a ragged breath. But now I'm dying. I don't want to have any more regrets. I watched Ava, the woman standing beside me in a white dress, and saw her eyes instantly turn red with a mix of anguish and pity. 3 years ago, Ava was diagnosed with stomach cancer. The very next day, her boyfriend at the time, Caleb, cleaned out her bank account and vanished, supposedly moving overseas. I was the one who had been in love with her since college, and I was the one who stayed, holding her hand through every grueling treatment. Just as the cancer metastasized and she was on the verge of death, the system found me. Liam Miller, you can choose to bind with the system. If you successfully win Ava Summers' heart and marry her within 3 years, her cancer will be cured. If you fail, you will be erased. It was Ava's last hope. I agreed without a second's hesitation. I devoted 3 years of my life to her. Her friends, her family, everyone told her she'd never find anyone who treated her better than I did. 3 months ago, she finally agreed to marry me. Today was the last day of the 3-year deadline. I thought everything was finally settled, but I was wrong. I felt Ava start to pull away and tighten my grip on her arm. Ava, this is our wedding. You can't just leave me here. Ava bit her lip, pausing the step she was about to take. But she wouldn't even look at me. Her eyes were locked on Caleb, as if one more word from him was all it would take for her to run into his arms. Ava, I know you hate me, Caleb pleaded, but when I took that money, it wasn't for me. It was to go abroad and find Dr. Roberts, to get you the best treatment possible. I instinctively shot back, you're lying. I was the one who had pulled every string. I had to get an appointment with Dr. Roberts. What did Caleb have to do with it? Is he telling the truth? Ava's gaze turned on me, sharp and suspicious. Caleb's family is full of doctors. You're just a regular guy from a single-parent home. Did you steal his credit for saving me? Before I could get a word out, Caleb interrupted, his voice thick with fake emotion. Ava, by the time I convinced the doctor, I'd missed my own window for treatment. My last wish is to see the Northern Lights with you. He looked utterly heartbroken. Please, don't get married. I watched Ava, saw her fall completely for his web of lies. I held on to her hand, my grip desperate, trying to pull her back to reality. Ava, whatever is going on with him, this is our wedding. At least let's finish the ceremony. We can talk about this later. But she ripped her hand from mine. Liam, we'll talk about the wedding later. Caleb is dying because of me. I can't just stand here and watch it happen. Seeing the finality in her eyes, I made one last desperate attempt. Phoenix, you can go. Just exchange the rings with me first. Please. If we exchanged rings, the mission would be a success. We would both get to live. Instead, in front of everyone we knew, Ava pulled the wedding band off my finger. Without a moment's hesitation, she walked over to Caleb, took his hand, and slid the ring onto his finger. The ring, one she had supposedly designed for me, had always been a little too loose on my finger. On Caleb, it was a perfect fit. Caleb's face lit up. Ava, you kept the promise ring we got? She intertwined her fingers with his, her eyes filled with an unmistakable, deep affection. Caleb, I was waiting for you all day. I knew you wouldn't be able to stay away if you heard I was getting married. Caleb, I told you I would go with you if you just showed up. This wedding, it was just to prove you still had me in your heart. My own heart felt like it had been thrown to the ground and stomped on. So that's all this was. Our wedding was nothing more than a test for her real love story. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. Why Ava always insisted on going to see the Aurora Borealis alone every year. Why she insisted on using this specific set of rings that never quite fit me. Why she'd been so anxious and distant in the days leading up to the wedding. It all made sense. She never wanted to marry me at all. Without a backward glance, they walked out of the venue, leaving me alone to face the wreckage. 2. It happened so fast that no one in the room had time to react. By the time the shock wore off, Ava and Caleb were long gone. Liam, Ava's parents rushed onto the stage, trying to salvage the situation. Caleb grew up with Ava. They've always been close, her mother stammered. She was just worried about him. Don't be angry. When she gets back, you two can have another ceremony. I'll have a serious talk with her. Their voices trailed off, the excuses sounding flimsy even to them. This TSK still wants to get married. Some guest whispered from the crowd. The bride just cheated on him at the altar. Next thing you know, Liam's going to be raising another man's kid. I always heard Liam was a total simp for her. See, this is what happens. You simp, and in the end, you get nothing. The whispers grew louder, each word a hammer blow to my ears. Liam, let's go. We are not finishing this wedding. My mom stood up, her back ramrod straight. We will not have that kind of trash in our family. My mother had spent her whole life working menial jobs and bowing her head to provide for me. But right now, she stood tall, ready to pull me out of this toxic mess. Seeing us about to leave, Ava's parents panicked. Liam, you can't go. Our Ava already had the reception with you. If you leave too, what will happen to her reputation? Her father added, his voice turning ugly. And you're the one backing out now, so don't even think about getting back the $30,000 you gave us for the wedding. I looked at their desperate faces and understood. They weren't worried about their daughter's honor. They were worried about the money. My mom turned around, her face a mask of disbelief. Your daughter ran out on my son, and you expect him to stay here, clean up her mess, and just swallow this humiliation? We'll see you in court for that money. The room erupted into chaos. My mom grabbed my arm to leave, but Ava's family members blocked our path. You people from a broken home, with no father to teach you any manners, you've been clinging to our family for years. Ava's uncle shouted, You think you'll find anyone better than Ava? Don't make me laugh. Ava's mother pointed a trembling finger at my mom. A bitter old woman, like you, could only raise a son who knows how to be a doormat. Being a single mother was the deepest wound in my mom's heart. She'd endured countless slights and insults raising me alone. Now, they were using it as a weapon against her. They surrounded us, their family outnumbering us. Someone started pushing. I saw a hand shove my mom hard. You people have gone too far. My mom cried out, clutching her chest. She gasped for air, her hand fumbling in her pocket for her pills. Just as she pulled out the small vial, someone knocked it from her hand, sending it skittering across the floor. I can't, her breath caught. Her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed. Mom! The paramedics arrived quickly, but she had already slipped into a coma. At the hospital, the doctor's face was grim. The patient suffered a massive, stress-induced heart attack. We need to get her into surgery immediately. You'll need to make a significant deposit for the procedure, around $20,000. Go down to billing now. I rushed to the cashier, ready to use the $50,000 I had painstakingly saved over the years. But when I swiped my card, the machine repeatedly flashed. Insufficient funds. How? How could that be? I pulled up my bank account on my phone and felt the world drop out from under me. My balance was just over $3,000. The rest, $47,000, had been transferred by Ava directly into Caleb Vance's account. That was my mom's life savings. How could those two backstabbing bastards just take it? The number you have dialed is not in service. Ava had blocked my number. When her parents picked up and heard my voice, they immediately hung up. I frantically called friends and family, begging for help. It took half an hour of desperate pleading to scrape the money together. But by the time I paid the deposit and ran back to the surgical wing, a doctor was walking out, his face etched with sorrow. He just looked at me and shook his head. I'm so sorry. Her heart was already weak, and the shock was too much. We did everything we could. He placed a hand on my shoulder. She regained consciousness for a moment. Right at the end, she asked me to tell you that she wants you to live a good life. I didn't even get to hear my own mother's last words. I collapsed against the hallway wall, my body numb, and started slapping my own face over and over. Why did I save Ava? Why? In the end, it only got my mother killed. The last light of my life had just been extinguished. And in that moment of absolute despair, my phone buzzed. Without looking, I numbly swiped to answer. A second later, Ava's sharp, piercing voice cut through the sterile silence of the hospital. Liam, where's the $3,000 that was left in the account? Do you have any idea how much tickets to see the Northern Lights cost? 3. Something inside me finally snapped. Ava, do you have any idea what that money was for? After I proposed, I had given her access to my main savings account. That $50,000 was supposed to be a down payment on a house for us in Denver after my next promotion. My future had a picture in it. My mom, Ava, a home of our own. Now all it was gone. Ava was taken aback by my tone. Why are you yelling? You scared me, she snapped. Just send me the money now. I closed my eyes, a wave of exhaustion washing over me. Ava, just come back. Let's finish the wedding. I didn't want to die. If we just completed the ceremony, I could survive. There was a pause on the other end of the line, followed by a loud burst of laughter from Caleb. Ava, he's still thinking about the wedding. You were right. He really is just your loyal little puppy. They laughed, shamelessly calling me a simp. My hand holding the phone started to tremble. Was I a simp? I never thought so. During her darkest days, I was the one who held her as she battled her illness. She would cling to me like a drowning person to a piece of driftwood. Liam, you're all I have, she'd whispered. Stay with me. When I get better, we'll have the biggest wedding anyone has ever seen. But now, she'd left me at the altar and was grinding my dignity into the dirt. Ava, do you really think your cancer just magically disappeared? I bonded with the system, okay? It said if we got married, you'd be cured. If not, I die. The line went silent for a beat, then erupted in even louder laughter. Liam, are you listening to yourself? Have you been watching too many sci-fi movies? Ava scoffed. A system? What's next? You can fly. Stop making up stupid stories and send the damn money. I'm going to Alaska with Caleb. I knew she wouldn't believe me, but her words still felt like knives. Even a saint has a breaking point. If death was my fate, I would drag those two animals down with me to avenge my mother. Ava, my mom is dead. She was killed by your family and by you. You spent her emergency medical fund. Oh, please, Ava said, her voice dripping with disdain. If you don't want to send the money, just say so. Do you really think I'd fall for such a pathetic lie? If your mom died, it's her own damn fault. Her heart was weak anyway. Don't you dare try to pin that on me. It's probably for the best. Saves me the trouble of having to take care of her later. My mom loved the idea of having a daughter and had treated Ava like her own, spending over $10,000 on gifts for her. And now, Ava was saying she deserved to die. Hey, didn't you say you had some system? Ava's voice was mocking, triumphant. Go on, use it to save your mom instead of me. I couldn't listen anymore. I hung up. I sat on the cold bench outside the morgue. Inside lay my mother, already gone. Outside sat me, about to die, but to die like this. I couldn't accept it. 4. I sat alone in our quiet apartment, holding the framed photo of my mom. A giant countdown timer materialized in my vision, the seconds of my life ticking away. Bang! The front door flew open, and a handbag sailed through the air, smacking me in the face. Liam, what is your problem? Get down to the police station with me right now and sign the release papers. Ava stormed in and tried to pull me off the couch, but I shoved her away, sending her stumbling to the floor. I'm not going, I said, my voice flat and cold. You and him can rot. Right after our call, I had reported my bank card as stolen. Caleb must have been picked up for fraud, which explained Ava's sudden, frantic appearance. Are you serious? She shrieked. He's a sick man. He needs to be taken care of. Are you trying to kill him? I slowly lifted my head and met her gaze. And when your family was killing my mother, did any of you think about how she needed to be taken care of? At the mention of my mom, Ava fell silent. After a moment, she mumbled, my parents didn't think it would turn out like that. It was your mom's fault for demanding the money back. Say one more word about my mother, I said, my voice dangerously calm, and I swear I will burn it all down with you inside. At this point, failing the mission meant death anyway. All I wanted now was to make the people who destroyed my life pay. Seeing my unyielding expression, a complete departure from the man who used to bend to her every whim, Ava shifted tactics. She bit her lip and softened her voice. Look, I know you're angry, but Caleb's health is the most important thing right now. Don't be so petty. Just go down there and clear this all up. Even now, after everything, all she cared about was Caleb. I remained motionless, watching her squirm. After Caleb fulfills his last wish, we can get married then, okay? She bargained. If you keep acting like this, then maybe we shouldn't get married at all. This time, I didn't even flinch at her threat. Fine, the wedding's off. I looked at her, a bitter smile on my face. And your cancer? It's not going to stay cured. You could die right alongside Caleb. Ava froze, staring at me as if I'd grown a second head. A surge of dark satisfaction washed over me. For years, I had loved and respected her, indulging her every wish as long as it wasn't completely unreasonable. But I had forgotten the most important rule. You have to love yourself first. A person like Ava Summers was never worth my time. How dare you curse me? And you want to call off the wedding? I didn't bother hiding my disgust. A person like you and a scumbag like Caleb are a perfect match. You two deserve each other. Furious, she raised her hand to slap me, but I caught her wrist, twisted it, and threw her out of my apartment. You don't deserve to be in my home, I snarled. Get out of my sight. I slammed the door and leaned against it, my body trembling as I watched the timer of my vision hit 0. Mission failed for host Liam Miller. Subject will be erased in 1 month. Even though I knew it was coming, I couldn't help but scream at the empty room. Why? I gave everything, and the people who hurt me get away with it all. Ava played me for a fool, made me believe she loved me, only to abandon me and get my mother killed. Why did she get to walk away unscathed? As if sensing my rage, the system's monotone electronic voice returned, this time with a hint of something that sounded like sympathy. Host, as a reward for your efforts, I can grant you one wish. You may select one person to attempt to win your heart. If they succeed, their ailment will be cured, but you will still be erased. If they fail, you will be allowed to live. I didn't miss the hint of twisted amusement in the system's offer. Watching us dying ants tear each other apart was probably its idea of entertainment. But it was my only chance. I slowly opened my eyes, my gaze falling on my mother's picture. This time, I said, each word dripping with venom. I want Ava Summers to be the one to win me over. I want her to know exactly what it feels like to be played, to be hopeless, and to be utterly destroyed. 5. I must have fallen asleep holding my mother's portrait because when I woke up, my phone was flooded with missed calls, all from Ava's family. Before I could decide whether to answer, it rang again. Liam, you need to get to the hospital. Ava just collapsed. So, her cosmic bill came due this quickly. I had to see this for myself. When I arrived, Ava was already awake, leaning back against her pillows with her eyes closed. But I could hear it, her conversation with the system. What do you mean, a system? You want me to win over Liam? So, the wheels of fate were finally turning. As soon as her parents saw me, they rushed over and pulled me aside. A doctor adjusted his glasses. You must be the patient's husband, correct? Her cancer has returned aggressively. She's going to need extensive and costly treatment. You should start making financial arrangements. A small, cruel smile touched my lips. I'm not her husband. You're talking to the wrong guy. What do you mean you're not? Her father sputtered, grabbing my arm. You two had a wedding. You need to pay for this. Take responsibility for my daughter. Your daughter isn't legally my wife, and she ran out on our wedding, I said, pulling my arm free. Why on earth would I be your family's safety net? We had never signed the marriage license. Ava had insisted we do it after the ceremony, a delay tactic so Caleb would have time to show up and rescue her. You two have your own money, I continued, my voice like ice. Pay for her treatment yourselves. If you can't, then let her die. I have nothing to do with your family anymore. I turned and walked away, ignoring their frantic shouts. Ava had a younger brother. I knew her parents would never sacrifice their precious son's future for their dying daughter. I didn't leave the hospital, though. Instead, I circled back to Ava's room and stood in the doorway. She looked like a ghost, her hair a mess, the room in disarray from a tantrum. Well, where's Caleb? I asked coldly. From what her parents had let slip, Caleb had been released as soon as I dropped the charges, a move I made to set this next stage. The moment he heard Ava was sick again, he took whatever money she had left and vanished. Again, what are you doing here? Ava glared at me. Caleb said he was going to find DR. Robert's for me. I couldn't help but laugh at her delusion. You've been played for a fool twice, and you're still defending him? DR. Roberts died 2 years ago. Is Caleb going to find him in heaven? Ava stared at me, her face slack with shock. Caleb, from a family of doctors, somehow didn't know that one of the top specialists in his field was dead. The idea was laughable. Now is your chance. Tell him you still love him. Don't you want to live? The system's seductive voice echoed in my mind. It was pushing her to start her mission. Ava ignored it. She practically spat at me. Liam, you think a piece of trash like you can turn me against Caleb? In your dreams. Host has failed to complete the mission objective. Initiating punishment. The next second, Ava gasped and clutched her chest. The heart monitor beside her bed shrieked, and a team of doctors and nurses rushed into the room. Get her to the ICU now. Her condition is critical. I watched as she passed out from the pain. The punishment for you, Ava, has only just begun. 6. Over the next few weeks, I didn't go back to the hospital, but the increasingly desperate texts from Ava's parents kept me updated. After my mission failed, her cancer had returned with a vengeance, spreading to multiple organs. Her parents, worried she would become a financial drain, had already taken their son and disappeared, abandoning her. Liam, you're finally home. I had just walked through my apartment door after a long day at work when a pair of arms wrapped around my back. I instinctively pushed the person away. In the dim light, I saw it was Ava, looking like a ghost of her former self. She was so thin she looked like a piece of paper, ready to be blown away by the slightest breeze. What do you want? I asked, my voice cold. A flicker of contempt crossed her face before being replaced by a sycophantic smile. Liam, I know I was wrong about everything. From now on, let's just be happy together. Let me make it all up to you, okay? I looked at her fake expression and felt a dark amusement. This was the woman I had loved for years. Nothing but a self-serving parasite. Look, I made you soup. Your favorite. As I unlocked the door, she squeezed past me, holding up a thermos triumphantly. You have no idea how early I had to get up to make this. I'll even feed it to you. You can't say no. She pouted, acting cute, as if she was certain I would melt. I didn't say a word. I just watched her bustle around my kitchen, pouring the steaming soup into a bowl and bringing it to me. Liam, I know I did some terrible things and I broke your heart. If you drink this soup, can we just forget everything and start over? One bowl of soup to erase the humiliation, to erase my mother's death? Not in this lifetime. With a sweep of my arm, I knocked the bowl from her hands. It shattered on the floor. I crossed my legs and looked down at her, my expression pure disdain. Ava, do you really think I'm an idiot? You're nothing now but a sick, abandoned woman with cancer. What makes you think I'd be the fool who pays your medical bills? Ava stared at the mess on the floor, stunned. Her lips trembled. Liam, don't be mad. I really am sorry. She furrowed her brow, trying to look frightened, but the flash of annoyance in her eyes gave her away. Her apology was a lie. She just wanted to use me to survive. Liam, I'm so sorry. Please, just give me a chance to atone. I looked at her tear-streaked face and felt nothing. Without another word, I gathered her things, grabbed her by the arm, and threw her and her thermos out into the hallway. Ava, don't ever let me see you again. You make me sick. I slammed the door shut. Host has failed to complete the mission objective. Initiating punishment. Through the door, I heard Ava's blood-curdling screams as the system's punishment hit her. Liam, help me. It hurts. I didn't move. I didn't even flinch. I just walked to the peephole and watched as she writhed in agony until a concerned neighbor finally called an ambulance. 7. The constant punishments from the system didn't deter Ava. If anything, they made her more persistent. She started showing up everywhere. Liam, I made your favorite dinner. Liam, I got tickets to that new movie from your favorite director. Let's go together. She was relentless, mimicking the same cloying attention I had once given her. But now, the sight of her filled me with nothing but disgust. Time and time again, I watched her suffer the system's wrath because of my rejection, and a part of me savored it. We've located the individual you asked about. The text from the private investigator came in. For the first time in weeks, I sent a message to Ava. The Onyx Lounge, 9 p.m., table 10. She replied almost instantly with a cute, okay emoji. She probably thought this was my signal of forgiveness. That night, Ava was sitting at table 10 right on time. I was at a different table, one with a perfect view of both her and the table next to her, and settled in to watch the show. Soon, the sound of two men talking drifted over from the adjacent table. Caleb, man, how'd you pull it off? You gotta teach me your ways, one of them said. I smirked. The performance was about to begin. It's easy when they're as stupid as Ava Summers, Caleb boasted. That idiot believes anything I say. I told her I had cancer and didn't want to be a burden, and bam, she handed over all her and Liam's money. I told her I was the one who got her DR, Roberts, and she bought that too. Caleb let out a derisive laugh. Honestly, a woman like her, I wouldn't even look at her twice if she wasn't so easy to manipulate. His voice, once filled with proclamations of love for Ava, was now dripping with contempt. Is that true? Ava was on her feet, slowly approaching their table. Everything you told me, it was all a lie. I watched a flicker of fear cross Caleb's face before it hardened into a sneer. What are you doing here? Forgetting all decorum, Ava launched herself at him, grabbing his collar. You lied to me. You said you were sick. You said you found a doctor. Give me back my money. She fought like a cornered animal, her eyes wild. But she was sick and weak. Caleb easily threw her off, sending her crashing to the floor. So what if I lied? It's your own damn fault for being so stupid, he sneered. You're the one who didn't trust Liam. You're the one who gave me the money. He looked down at her with disgust and gave her a light kick. Forget about the money. It was a gift. It's got nothing to do with me. He turned to leave, but he didn't get far before 2 police officers I had called earlier intercepted him. Caleb Vance, we need you to come with us. You're a person of interest in a fraud investigation. I watched the whole scene unfold from a distance. I watched Ava, crumpled on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Sensing my gaze, she stopped crying and crawled towards me, grabbing the cuff of my pants. Liam, I know I was wrong. I see that now. Please, please forgive me, she wailed, tears and mascara streaming down her face. It was all my fault, but I was innocent too. I was tricked. She was innocent? What about me? What about my mom? I almost lost everything, and my mother lost her life. Were we not innocent? I pried her fingers from my leg. Ava, I said, my voice low and devoid of all emotion. You deserve this. Ava's health deteriorated daily. Soon, she was spending more time unconscious than awake. This was the 10th, maybe 12th time she had escaped from the hospital to find me. Yes, please send someone to take her away, I said into my phone, looking at the pathetic figure huddled by my front door. An inexplicable wave of irritation washed over me. Liam, who is that woman? The person beside me was Sarah, a woman I had recently started seeing. She was vibrant and cheerful, a little ray of sunshine that had started to warm the cold corners of my life. I ran a hand through my hair, frustrated. Just someone who won't leave me alone. Liam, who is this girl? Ava scrambled to her feet, her voice shrill. I'm Liam's fiancé. You need to stay away from him, you homewrecker. Fiancé? Are you sure? Sarah asked, linking her arm through mine. She turned to me with a playful glint in her eye. Liam, is this the runaway bride you were telling me about? She emphasized the words, runaway bride, and I understood immediately she was defending me. I watched Ava's face darken with rage, and I couldn't help but share a small smile with Sarah. It looks like you have something to deal with, Sarah said. I'll go. We could try that movie another time. As she left, my good mood soured. This perfectly planned date was ruined. Ava, what the hell do you want? Tears welled in her eyes as she stepped forward to hug me. Liam, are you really throwing me away? I held up a hand, stopping her. Ava, I already told you I never want to see you again. How many times do I have to say it before you get it? But look at everything I've done for you these past few months. I know how hard it's been for you. Let me make it up to you, please, she pleaded, her voice thick with emotion. For a moment, she almost sounded sincere. Seeing me unmoved, she pulled a photo album from her bag. Liam, look at this. Look at us. You can't tell me you've forgotten all of this. It was the album I had made for our wedding. It was filled with pictures of our past, me throwing her a birthday party, our vacations, the day I proposed. But as I flipped through it, a grim reality emerged. In nearly every photo, I was the only one smiling. Ava always had a sour, put-upon expression, as if having her picture taken with me was the most disgusting thing in the world. Ava, look at your face in these pictures. Do you really think showing me this is going to make me feel sentimental? I didn't hesitate to shatter her self-serving fantasy. Ava finally looked down at the album, truly seeing it for the first time. No, Liam, it's not like that, she stammered, frantically trying to salvage the moment. Those were just bad pictures. We can take new ones. They'll be beautiful, I promise. Her panic was as transparent as her supposed love for me. "There is no we," I said, cutting her off. "Not anymore. That ended the day you ran away from our wedding and got my mother killed." The light in Ava's eyes flickered and died, leaving behind only a hollow, gray despair. "No more," she whispered to herself. "Then please," she begged, her voice cracking as she grabbed my arm again. A drowning woman reaching for a life raft. "Marry me. You told me you had a system. If we get married, I can be cured. Please save me. I'm so young, I don't want to die." She fell to her knees, bowing her head to the ground over and over, not stopping even when her forehead started to bleed. After all this time, after all the games, her true motive was finally laid bare. "Ava, your love is a lie," I said, a cruel smile playing on my lips. "All these things you did for me, it was all just to manipulate me into saving your life, wasn't it?" "Too bad." I leaned in and delivered the final, devastating truth. "The system's offer expired the day you left me at the altar. You, Ava Summers, are going to die." Mission failed for host. Initiating final punishment. She stared at me, her mind refusing to process the words. "How? How can that be? Liam, don't you have any feelings left for me at all?" "No, Fabia, not a single one." I watched as the hospital staff arrived and pried her off the ground, dragging her away. I went inside, got a mop, and scrubbed the spot where she had knelt, wanting to erase every trace of her from my home. It was filthy, but it didn't matter. Soon, I would never have to see her again. And just as I thought, a long time passed without any sign of Ava. The next time I heard her name, I was on a date with Sarah. That little ray of sunshine had agreed to be my girlfriend. "Mr. Miller, this is Denver General. Ms. Summers' condition is critical. We don't think she'll last more than a day or two. Her last wish is to see you one more time. I don't know if you'd be willing to." "Go," Sarah said, taking the phone from my hand. "You want to? I can see it." I looked at my kind, understanding girlfriend and smiled. She was right. How could I not want to see the person who killed my mother take her last breath? When I entered the hospital room, Ava's tired eyes lit up for a second, then dimmed when she saw Sarah standing behind me. "Liam, you came," she whispered, weakly reaching a hand out to me. She was nothing but skin and bones, a fragile skeleton in a hospital bed. "Thanks for leaving me such a great guy," Sarah said with a smile. "I'll let you two talk." She gave us our space. Ava gripped my hand with surprising strength. "Liam, I have to tell you, I was bound to a system. It told me if I could win you over, I would live. Liam, you have to save me." 10. I looked down at her desperate, pleading face. "Ava," I asked softly, "do you feel hopeless?" A flicker of confusion crossed her face. My mom felt this same hopelessness when she died. To this day, I can't forget the image of my mother collapsing, her life-saving medicine knocked just out of reach by Ava's parents. I had already found the proof. I had already sent them to stand trial. Only Ava was left. "You think you were bound to that system by chance?" I leaned closer, prying her fingers from my hand one by one, crushing what little hope she had left. "It was me, Ava." I laid the entire truth bare. "It was me all along. I wanted you to taste despair." Her eyes widened in horror and disbelief. You, she gasped for air, and a trickle of blood ran from the corner of her mouth. She tried to say something else, but the words wouldn't come. She could only stare at me, her eyes burning with a futile hatred. I watched her, my heart a cold, hard stone in my chest. "Ava," I said, my voice utterly devoid of pity, "you brought all of this on yourself. Host Ava Summers has failed the mission. Subject will now be erased. Mission target Liam Miller will survive." The system's electronic voice was the last thing she heard. As I watched, Ava clutched her chest, her breath catching her throat. Her eyes were wide open, fixed on me, as if she would curse me even in death. And then she was still. Time of death, 9:42 p.m. The patient is gone. The doctor's words hung in the air. My body trembled, not from sorrow, but from a profound sense of release. A pair of warm arms wrapped around me from behind, holding me steady. "Liam," Sarah whispered gently in my ear, "congratulations. You got your justice. Your mom would be proud." I leaned back into her embrace. She was right. My mom always just wanted me to be happy. And now my new life was just beginning.